Welcome to the Feel Podcast, One-on-One Empowerment Tuesday with me, the host, Melissa Crook, and the founder here of the Embracing Layers Network. Today, we are going to be summarizing the Feel framework for you, Finding Empowerment, Embracing Layers. If you listen to our podcast regularly, I've been walking you through each talking point over the last several weeks, 6 to 7, 8 weeks now. I'm breaking them down individually. And today we're kind of bringing it all home to share with you what it means in summary to live out feel. So to get started, I just want to go into a little bit about the framework. Living our healthiest lives and our healthiest selves means we've got to get in touch with who we are. And this framework embodies the resources that we need to do that. And I know that from my own experience. This framework was created organically out of my own lived experience. It wasn't intentional. It just happened over time as I started getting really present with healing and feeling my emotions and allowing them to move through and being able to name them. Being able to identify who I am as a person by my character traits, not by what I do. Being able to name and identify the activities that nourish me regularly, that need to be a part of my regular self-care routine. That I look at my calendar and I'm putting myself in first because I know I'm valuable. I know I'm worthy based on who I am, not what I do. I'm able to name what I value and my why because I've identified who I am. I've identified those activities that nourish me. I've identified how I want to feel over the next 6 months, year, 5 years, 3 months, week, whatever it is that feels doable to you to identify to help you get to know who you are. The most important thing, though, I started with at the very beginning is embracing my layers. I got curious rather than judgmental about who I am and what my story is and the things that I love and don't love. What have I been stuffing? What do I have shame around? What do I have fear around exposing? And why? Let me go meet that person where she was at the time to get to know her and what led her into those situations and experiences with a lens of curiosity rather than judgment or fear or shame. All of these identity things help me identify, okay, knowing that about myself, being able to accept that, move through that. I don't have to love it, but I can acknowledge it. I can give that person at that time empathy and grace. I can acknowledge that maybe that wasn't the best scenario or situation or decision. And also, what have I learned and how can I move forward from it? Not carry it with me, not allow it to impact my mental, emotional, physical health, which are all connected. Because if we carry these things that we don't want to deal with or that we're afraid to name or that we've been told aren't appropriate for us, they're going to spill out over time. Our bodies weren't meant to carry these things. So they're going to spill out in other harmful ways, whether it's physically, whether it's blowing up on someone over something that doesn't seem like it's such a big deal, but you just couldn't carry one more thing within you. All these have a way of exposing themselves. And this feel framework and the key questions that I ask you to ask yourself lead you down a road of helping you answer the questions you need to answer. Looking at your calendar to see if it's aligned with who you are today, letting you know where you might need to set some healthy boundaries and say yes to a few less things and maybe no to a few more things. And this framework allows you to do that. So now, and we've broken that down over the last 8 weeks. So that's a summary in case you've missed that. I really strongly suggest you go back into our platform. You can find all of our episodes on embracinglayers.com. I'm starting to do them live here on Substack. We put the links here every week on our Substack account. Go back and look at those. You can also find them on Spotify or Apple, wherever you listen to podcasts, and listen to those. If you want more information, or just reach out to me on our contact form at embracinglayers.com to talk about it more. I do free 30-minute empowerment sessions to help people tap into what's already inside you. And then we have additional resources if you need more support. But just wanted to kind of give you that quick look today as we wrap up and summarize how the FEEL framework can support you in living the life that you feel aligned with, that you were built for, instead of the one others have told you you should be living. And it's not feeling quite right to you anymore. So you want to get back in touch with yourself and who you are. And so now that you have this framework, I'm inviting you to apply this to your own life and invite other women to come on this journey with you. We've got multiple resources to do this in community, whether it's our book, whether it's our online course, whether it's having me speak, whether it's listening to the podcast together, whether it's getting our workbook and doing that together. There's multiple ways for you to do this in community. We've got panel conversations we have every Monday live on YouTube. You can listen to, participate. I'm doing these Tuesday one-on-ones every Tuesday. Sit down together on your lunch break or your coffee break and listen together and ask each other these questions, but do it in community and support not only yourself unapologetically, but each other as well. And because it's by utilizing these resources and putting them into play, you become accountable. You start seeing where you have choices to do the things you need to do to live a life in aligned with who you were meant to be, your healthiest life. And so, like I said, this involves identifying who you are unapologetically. Know that you are worth prioritizing. Address all of the parts of your wellness and mental, emotional, physical, spiritual. Embrace those layers that I addressed earlier, all those pieces and parts of your story that make up who you are. Placing those healthy boundaries around your time and your spaces and who you spend it with and who you give it to. Making sure you're surrounding yourself spaces and places that are healthy for you, that are giving to you, that honor and appreciate your value as much as you do. And then showing yourself love and empathy and grace as you walk out this journey and are accountable and are making choices, and also understand that sometimes we're just not going to get it right, or sometimes we're going to fall back into old habits, and that's going to happen over time. This process, this field framework process, involves a lot of unlearning and relearning, because there are so many things that we have been told or taught along the way that we've treated as truth that may not be serving us anymore, or maybe it never served us, and maybe it's just an idea or a stereotype or stigma or thought process that's out there in the cultural narrative that we are around that we need to unlearn and relearn and let go of and release. And when we do this, when we're willing and able to apply this field framework to our lives, and I'm talking from my own experience and watching others around me do this as well, it gives us a sense of renewal. We get reacquainted with ourselves, who we are, what we care about today. And we can start living our lives from this lens. We can look at our calendars and see that it reflects our values. It reflects our why. It reflects our expectations. It reflects where we've set those healthy boundaries. It reflects and has us in the calendar first, tending to ourselves well, finding that time each day to fill our cups, whether it's 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. That time you already have when you're driving to work, when you're driving home from work, when you're on your lunch break, when you're waiting for your kiddo to finish soccer practice or piano lessons, that time you already have to do something that fills your cup or nourishes you, whether it's dancing in the car to your favorite music, or taking a walk around the block, or spending some time with some friends, or just having quiet with no noise to just close your eyes and let your mind and body just refresh and reset. This allows us to do this, and it also encourages us to invite other women into it. There's no scarcity mindset, because we're not living from a place of insecurity. We know our value. We know we're unique. We know we have something to offer, and we know others have things to offer as well, and that there's room for all of us at the table together. And the more of us doing this together, the stronger we become, and the safer we create spaces for women across the board, in unity rather than in competition. This kind of renewal and prioritizing ourselves is goes into this with community piece. It's contagious. Other people want to know what we have. They become curious. It's an opportunity to show up and support others in their journey, and become curious about their journeys and asking them what feels supportive to you. Don't assume you know, because just because something feels supportive to you doesn't automatically mean it's going to feel supportive to somebody else. We each have our own special things that fill our cups, that provide us the help and support we need. So don't assume what worked for you specifically, because even though I know this framework in itself works, there's many things within the framework, the self-care, that's going to look different for everybody. Where the healthy boundaries are set, that's going to look different for everybody. What impacts your mental, emotional, physical health, that's very individualized on how that's going to show up for you. For me, writing down my emotions and being able to name them is very helpful. Others may just know it in their bodies and be able to feel it that way. So within this framework, allow the curiosity, ask questions, ask people where they need support, ask them what feels supportive, ask them what they value, ask them what their expectations are. And that invites their curiosity as well. You show up as a safe place for each other to land and be who you were authentically created to be. And this, like I said, this creates a space where we know and understand there's enough space for all of us, and we can all show up well and support each other because we've learned how to support ourselves first. It's going to be very difficult to lead well in your organization, to lead well in your neighborhood, to lead yourself if you don't know how to lead yourself well, to even lead your home well in terms of keeping things organized, keeping things moving, helping everyone get to where and support what they need without taking it all on for yourself, knowing how to ask for help, not expecting people to be mind readers. That we start by applying this feel framework to ourselves. We prioritize our self-care. We've set healthy boundaries. We have identified our emotions and know how to move through them and process them and understand that our mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual health are all connected. We know how to show up for ourselves unapologetically without apologizing and saying, I'm sorry, every time we need help or have a question. We are not showing up and feeling like we're an inconvenience to someone. We know we're valuable and have a place and space in the room, and we know others are as well. We are able to name and live by our why and values because we've identified those things previously that we care about, that fill us up, that are important for us. We are expressing our expectations and communicating them well. We're not expecting those around us to be readers. And we are treating ourselves with honor, which then invites others to treat us with that same honor and respect. And that's visible by how we show up, the light that we carry, the attitude that we have, the empathy that we show for other people. This all shows up, and this is how feel impacts your relationship with yourself as well as your relationship with other people, because you've been able to embrace your layers. You're not living from a lens of insecurity or fear or shame. You have made friends with, or at least come to a neutral point with those parts of your story that you don't love, and you've allowed yourself room to move through them and acknowledge them. And you can accept that every day is not going to be perfect, and sometimes you're going to fall back, but that's just more of an opportunity to learn and keep moving forward. It's not going to hang you up. And so that's the beauty of applying this framework and showing up well. It allows you to not only lead yourself well, but lead others well when you're called to do that and show up in those spaces. So I wanted to just kind of wrap that up in summary today, because we've been touching all those things specifically over the last 8 weeks. And we're going to continue to visit over the rest of 2026 how each of these pieces of the framework impact other parts of our story. We're going to talk about how we stop saying I'm sorry for things that we're not responsible for. We're going to talk about the impact of relationships and having enmeshment and codependency versus a healthy, connected, or healthy boundaries where people aren't willing to meet us there, and putting ourselves in those spaces is more harmful than helpful. We're going to talk about how all these parts and pieces of the framework fit into our lives throughout the year. But it's important for you to kind of have a base understanding. So hopefully this has helped you to do that as we've really broken this down this spring. If you have any questions about any of this at all, make sure that you are putting questions not only in the chat here live, if you're able to join me live, but are also including them later as we post this, as it goes out into our notes and on our Substack page. Go back and write comments later after you've listened to it. Or if you catch us on one of the other platforms, Spotify or YouTube or Apple, where we play, write in comments there, DM us, go to our contact form. Let us know what questions you have, what curiosities you have, what disagreements you have. Let's have a conversation. But that's the part that I really want to do, is bring engagement and safe places for people to get curious and ask questions and share what's working for them and what's not working for them, and getting, and inviting those possibilities in, because we grow and learn by listening to each other, by communicating with each other, by sharing experiences with each other, and creating safe spaces for each other. So hopefully that's what this will continue to create for you. As I continue to show up live every Tuesday here, right here on Substack, you can join me at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, or you can watch it later and put comments in. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much for being with me today. Before I close this down, I want to share the screen real quick. We have speaking of engagement, we have an incredible opportunity coming up starting tomorrow, and it is our Invisible Work Book Club, and it's a wonderful book written by our friends Dr. Janelle Wells and Dr. Doreen Macaulay. It's called Our Invisible Work. The authors will be joining us weekly starting tomorrow, Wednesday, June 3rd at 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern. If you can't make it this week, just put it into your calendar. But it's this book, Our Invisible Work. You can find it if you go onto our Substack page and look for this posting. You can get right to the super link to buy it on Ingram Spark or Amazon, right there. And even if you don't have the booking time, join us for the first discussion. This is going to be a really powerful discussion. We're going to be talking about all the areas that we work in that we don't get paid for, that we don't get noticed in necessarily. And it's important for us to understand where it is we need to not only hand out more thank yous, but what are areas we're doing invisible work in that maybe we need to talk about more or reflect on more if we need more help or support in, if we're feeling, because it does have an impact on our health when we continually do this. And it's something that especially happens to women and other populations that are in the minority. And it basically is one of those things that's been happening for thousands of years, and we're finally starting to talk about it. And Janelle and Doreen have done a lot of research on it, and they've written this book, and it really helps you to kind of see where it's happening, because you can't change something that you're not willing to acknowledge. And whether you're in a position of power where you can change this, or whether you're the person that it's happening to, or both. I tend to find that we're in both the positions. We're both doing it ourselves and asking others to do it. And what kind of environment does that create when we're not acknowledging it, when we're not saying thank you for it, when we're not asking if they need more support, if we're not, you'd be surprised how far a thank you can go. But it requires awareness and conversations. If you miss any of the book clubs, what happens is you're going to go, if you decide, hey, I want to do this, you're going to come to this page on our Substack, and you're just going to write in the comments, hey, I want to join the book club. Jessica, who manages our Substack, is going to then, if you're not subscribing to us already, subscribe to us so she can reach out to you via email and give you the link. We meet on StreamYard each week, and you need to let Jessica know here on Substack, or you can DM us on Instagram or on LinkedIn and let us know you want to be part of the book club, and then she'll email you the link each week. And then here's the schedule. We're going to meet for 5 weeks. Tomorrow, we're going to start with these chapters here. And then we're going to meet June 10th, June 17th, June 24th, and wrap up on July 1st. And so I hope that you'll join us. I hope that you'll take this opportunity to visit this. This is going to be a really important conversation. I think it's just a necessary conversation for us to be having so that we can, again, you can't address the things that you're not willing to change. And there's a huge impact on women. There's a huge impact on women of color. There's a huge impact on those that anybody that's not a white cisgendered male. And this isn't beating up on white cisgendered males in particular, but it is very evident that they are the least affected voice, and they're the ones that are asking for it most. And it's just the way life has been set out in culture from a patriarchal standpoint and a misogynistic standpoint historically. And sometimes it can be painful to recognize, oh, I'm actually perpetuating this and it's actually doing harm. And I need to be more mindful of this and aware of this because I can't shift the things I'm not aware of. So that's my spiel in the book club. Thanks so much for joining us today. Let us know if you have any questions. Put those questions or thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to know how you can support you. Take good care of yourselves, and remember, you're valuable, you are worthy, and you get to choose. Take care and have a great week. I'll see you next time here on the Field Podcast.